Bonjour, thought I'd just jump on and do a quick video. Just getting ready for tomorrow's gutter clearing, etc. So one of the guys suggested that we rip out one of the lockers in the van that was taking up unneeded space. So we did. And I feel a lot less stressed when I look inside that van now. It's like, oh, everything has its own little place. It's amazing. So I've seen a youngster, or not so much a youngster, that's patronising. I have seen someone who clearly he runs a one-man window cleaning business, but he's asking questions about, you know, how do guys that run multiple vehicle operations handle customers that skip? Do you have a zero tolerance? Do you just accept it for what it is? I don't think it's either of them, to be honest with you. I don't think you can have a zero tolerance attitude to customers that don't really want the service. And the answer is really to go after the customer that wants your service and accepts how you do things. Now, we've all been brought up, certainly in the UK, US, etc., to believe that the customer is always right. And I've said in many videos, they're not, okay? Half the time the customer doesn't know what they want. The other half, the other half of the time, customers expect the professional, i.e. you, to take the lead and make the problem go away, right? They're not really interested in, they're not detail orientated in the sense that, they don't care how you deliver that service, so long as they know how you deliver that service and you can communicate that to them. By and large, that will serve you well, okay? So, for example, obviously, I've mentioned in the past we've got 3 vehicles. John should be back in a minute, finishing his day. And the thing is, we still get customers that skip, and you're always going to get customers that skip on you. That's not the question. The question you should be asking is, why are they skipping? Now, here's the thing. If they're skipping because there's a great big honking stack of scaffolding in front of the house, I think that's fair enough. If they're having a driveway laid and they don't want, you and your size 10s to go stomping all over it, etc., that's fair enough, right? But if they are customers that say, for argument's sake, that for example, we turn around and we say, we will come every 4 weeks on the same day, do the windows, give you a text message the night before, work in all weathers, all the spiel, right? And we make it clear to every customer that we expect to come every 4 weeks on the same day. And the best way you can do this, in my humble opinion, is to turn around to the customer and say, clearly they've been let down in the past. Everyone that's had a window cleaner, myself included, in the past, has been let down, right? That's not in doubt. But the thing is that customer wants someone who is reliable. Now then, if they expect reliability from your end of the scale, their end of the scale, they should meet you in the middle, right? So if you turn around and tell a customer how you do things, whether you decide to go every 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whether you decide to work in the rain or not, whether you decide to text a customer or not, is largely irrelevant, okay? What is important is that the customer understands what they're agreeing to, okay? So irrespective of, again, I've said in the past, we text all our customers the night before. That is as much a courtesy to the customer as it is, a sign of reliability from us. Yeah, that is us going that extra mile, taking 5 minutes. You go the extra mile, it's not really an extra mile. You're doing something that majority of people would sort of go, oh, I can't be bothered with that. Or that some and enough window cleaners would sort of say, oh, I can't be bothered with that. Yeah. And I've said before, all you have to do is be 5% better than the last guy, right? Did the last guy text the night before? No. Did he, what's the name? Did he cause damage to your property? You know, potentially, you know, like a gate, broke a gate or something like that, or put his foot through roof tiles and stuff like that. You know, did they knock on the door at tea time when you were trying to feed the kids? You know, and you didn't have any money with you. You know what I mean? It's about overcoming objections. So, you know, offer bank transfer. You don't have to burn 2 lots of fuel to go and earn the same amount of money you just earned. Yeah. So you're solving problems, and the reality is, the more problems you solve for the most people that you can do, the more successful you're going to be. And it doesn't matter whether you're a window cleaner, a plumber, heating engineer. It doesn't matter if you're a mechanic. It doesn't matter if you're a insert service-based industry job there. Yeah. If you do something for a result, okay, the result is only part of it. Yeah. So when someone turns around like this young lad, and again, I promise you, I'm not having a dig at anybody, but it's just to demonstrate the point. Perhaps you're asking the wrong questions. Yeah. Is it a case of having a zero policy, zero tolerance policy on skipping appointments? It's impossible to enforce. Yeah. But the more reliable you come across to your customer, the more they're going to want to meet you in the middle and be reliable. Okay, and sure, you know, sometimes you're going to get messed around by people. We get messed around to this day. It doesn't stop. You know what I mean? So I've said in other videos that it doesn't get easier. You just get better at handling. You get better at dealing with it. Okay, and it's the truth. Okay. It's not that it gets easier, you just become attuned to it, you just become acclimatized to it, you know. So when someone's asking about skips, I immediately think back to my early days when I was that one man operator. And that mindset is, you know, they're worried about skips because ultimately if they take on staff, they're worried that, are they going to have enough people, are they going to have enough customers that don't skip to be able to afford the wages of other staff? It's a valid question, but it demonstrates a scarcity mindset. And the thing, it sounds hippie and it sounds, you know, wishy-washy and all this gubbins. I get it, I do, right? But if you have terms and conditions, and it makes me chuckle when I've said this to people in the past, they say, oh, you only clean windows, you're only a window cleaner, why do you need terms and conditions? And it's for this very subject. Yeah, if you have terms and conditions and you have an agreement from the customer, so the customer understands what you do, how you do it, okay, and agrees to fit into your system, and if they stay, brilliant, and if they go, they go. And here's the thing, right? When I've got this demonstrates a point, right? When I've gone out and given quotes, so I'm about to go out and give a quote shortly. If you approach the customer and tell them, for example, this is generally not spiel, but this is generally the sort of things, the tick list I have in my head. You know, we clean the windows every 4 weeks on the same day. We send you a text message the night before. Okay, we clean the windows with water-fed pole in all weathers, right? And you'll be done every 4 weeks on the same day, starting on this date. Okay. So long as it is safe to work, weather is not an issue, we'll always go out. Okay, as long as it's safe to do so. And again, that goes back to the reliability, right? And you know, if, for example, if a customer decides to skip at the door, so for example, you've turned up, so you've texted the customer the night before, you've turned up, and the customer opens the front door and says, not today, Chris, that will result in a full invoice being due. And the reason for that is not because I'm a bad man, It's not because I'm evil. It's not because I'm a greedy, capitalist. No, it's because you've agreed to take a slot on my rota. And with the best will in the world, with the 3 vans we have, there are only so many houses we can do in a day. And if I accept you treating me like that, then I have to accept that everybody else treats me like that, and I don't. So there's that. And then we sort of say, if you decide to go on holiday and you'd like to skip, give us as much notice as physically possible. But again, because we come every 4 weeks, which is 13 cleans a year, chances are customers are going to have a holiday. So you're going to get an average of about between 10 and 12 cleans out of each customer. So sure, I mean, like for example, this month, so we are, this is, as things stand, we are the 24th of July, okay? And we, to date, we had, from the 1st of July to this very moment, we've had £700 worth of skips. Now, here's the thing, right? Vast majority of those customers that have skipped have done so for a legitimate reason. Everybody goes on holiday in the summer, right? Deal with it. I can guarantee when it's my turn to have an holiday, I'm having an holiday too, right? So, you have to accept that people are, yes, they're customers, but they are not a cash cow. And they have the right to skip, okay? But you have to manage that. So if they skip when you're at the door as you've turned up, then 100% build them a full invoice, because you can't bring other work forward. It's an embuggerance to you. It's a sign that you are prepared to be reliable, but the customer is not prepared to meet you in the middle, which is not in line with the agreement, yeah? And then, if we, for argument's sake as well, lock gates, and we always say this, if we text you the night before and the access is left locked, blocked, or inhibited in any way, i.e. dog mess, parked vehicles, etc., we will clean the windows that we can reach, but we will charge the full price to cover costs, right? So I've explained what we do, why we do it, right? And here's the funniest thing, so it goes back to what I was saying before, when I go and give this quote later on today, the vast majority of the people I speak to, when I put it to them like that, they go, vast majority of them, turn around and go, oh yeah, 100% Chris, I understand, because I am showing a willingness to be reliable plus of the last guy. I'm showing a willingness to be more reliable than the previous provider, okay? But that reliability comes at a cost. You as the customer have to meet me in the middle, okay? Because it takes two to tango, yeah? And so instead of treating it very much a case of like, we will dictate terms and you will do as you're told and all this sort of stuff to the customer. No, it's not like that. When you put your terms and conditions down, okay, it's not a case of you stating, this is what we do, and if you don't like it, you can F off and all this sort. It's not like that. What it is telling people what you will put up with, what you won't put up with, okay, and actions on if one of the parties fails to adhere to the agreement, right? So it's simply, we'll text you the night before. If that gate is left locked or blocked or inhibited in any way, we will do the windows that we can reach safely, okay? We will not climb the gate, we will not kick it in, that sort of stuff, right? And we will charge the full price to cover our costs. And the vast majority of people, when you explain it to them in plain, simple English and simple terms, vast majority of them agree. Vast majority of them will agree. I suggest you try it, okay? So rather than worrying too much about whether a customer will skip, because they will skip, right? Instead of worrying about customers skipping, concern yourself with how you're managing that relationship with the customer. You've got to, if you're going to go up a level from that one-man operation to 3 vehicles, etc., you can't treat it the same. Because, all right, so if you're a one-man band and you go out to clean windows and a customer skips, you're probably going to do what most people do and go, all right, well, it's an early finish. That's fair enough. It's only me. It's only me on my own. It's 1 or 2 customers a day. In the grand scheme of things, I can finish early because I don't have that level of responsibility. When you start taking on staff, when you start having additional vehicles, when you have additional finance to pay for those vehicles. And for example, I'll show you this now very briefly. In the garage, so when I very first started, I was simply processing water from the tap directly into my van, okay, which we don't do now. As you can clearly see, there is no hose pipe feeding into my vehicles, etc. So we've had to go to use this system here to have to feed one vehicle. But guess what? We've got 3. So now we have 2. Okay, so literally this one fills up here, okay, and then basically drops the water through a pipe into this other one, so that we have two tanks of water. The lads fill up at the end of every day, so that the vehicle is ready to go for the next morning, and then these are topping up overnight, so that at the end of the next shift, the water is full and it can carry on going. So again, going back to when I was a one-man band, I didn't have to think like that because it was just me. But now we've got staff, we have to think differently. Put it back in the box, there we go. We have to think differently, and you will have to do the same. So I'm going to close the video off here shortly, but I've said before and I'll say it again, do not let the tail wag the dog. Don't let the customer dictate how you do your thing, okay? You dictate how you do your thing. But because you're going up a level, you're going to start encountering these things. You're going to start encountering problems. But a problem, it's like a puzzle. It's only a problem. It's a puzzle. Yeah, it just needs solving. It just needs a solution. Yeah, it's not a real life and death problem. It just needs a solution. So I mentioned about the water. Well, I need more water. Cool. Right. Well, we'll get another system, and what we'll do is we'll put them in tandem, so one's topping the other one up. Oh, right. Well, you know, I can't really tolerate having too many skips. So now what I'll do is I'll include that in my terms and conditions. The fact that I even had terms and conditions, it was a result of me going from being a one-man operator to multiple vehicles. So it's an evolution. It's always changing. So what I would say is just try to create an agreement in text format, send it via text or email to any potential customers, and at the bottom I always put, I have all my T's and C's as previously just spoken about, and at the very bottom I put, if this suits you, please reply to this message and I will get you booked onto our rota, Chris Estuary Cleaning. Okay, and what that does is 2 things. It gives the problem back to the customer. It says, if this suits, please reply to this message, and then I will add you to the rota. That's basically saying you have to agree to our way of doing things to come onto the rota. You are not coming onto the rota until you agree to operate within our system. And it's not because I'm a tyrant, it's because we have a system of doing things. And if the customer fits in with that system, outstanding, we have an accord, let's get it on, right? Happy days. But if they don't agree with it, then guess what? They're not going to reply. So in some respects, those customers that are going to cause you dramas and are going to skip at will just because, oh, you know what, I only want it done every 4 months and I only want to pay £5 at a time and all this sort of stuff, these people eliminate themselves from our process. The trash is taking itself out, yeah? So start thinking, if you're going to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 100 vehicles, whatever, we've only got 3. But if you're going to make that decision to step it up a notch, right, then you have to start developing systems. This is our system. I hope it serves you well, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please, if you like this content that I put out, consider liking, sharing and subscribing to the channel. I do like having these sorts of interaction videos. I like having the podcast. The podcast got a pretty positive with Mark recovering from cancer, got a pretty positive response, which is nice. I've had conversations with people from Scotland, from Scunthorpe, from all over the UK, sort of talking all things window cleaning. And here's the thing, it's people might think it's nerdy. I love it because people are now starting to take control of the way they do things, yeah. And it's no longer about what the system can do for them. It's about creating a system that works for you. So on that note, keep on keeping on. I'll see you in the next video.